So hi everybody, today I want to share with you a bunch of facts about me that you may or may not know. Now be sure to stay to the end because I'm going to be sharing the one thing I didn't know about myself until I started making YouTube videos. When I was a kid, we moved to Greece and back twice, not once, but twice, all before the age of 11. I've made a separate video that I will be linking here if you want to hear the fascinating story about how we arrived back in Canada before our belongings had even reached Greece. Good one. My training is in microbiology. I worked in a cell biology and a microbiology lab. By the time I was 22, I had published my first scientific paper, and I was published as a second author. This is a big deal in the science world. I won't go into it in detail, just briefly. We were looking at human white blood cells called neutrophils and how a particular protein in the membrane gets activated. So that meant my science career was off to a fantastic start. I ended up working in another hospital on other things like meningitis and antibiotic-resistant bacteria. It did come as a big surprise to people when I quit the science world to become a personal trainer and yoga teacher. I did undergo a massive weight loss and lifestyle transformation myself, and I've made a video about that over here. You can check it out. I explain the details and the level of denial I was in about my weight. And so I switched careers and ended up being very successful for 10 years in that industry. So from that, I eventually opened up a yoga studio with 2 other teachers. And this is us. We're having photographs taken for our marketing of our yoga studio. In addition to teaching yoga there, I also taught this core strength on the ball class. And it was a super popular program. I entered a fitness model competition on a whim. You had to show up in a fitness wear, in evening wear, and bikini, and learn how to pose. This is in 2003, however. Please note, I no longer look like this. You know that, right? I indeed learned it's not for me, but I'm very glad I did it. It was quite the experience. I did not make it to anywhere near the top 20. A funny bit to the story is I just wanted to eat. At the end of that long day, I went to the nearest McDonald's. There were these like standing room only type tables, and I ate a Big Mac combo standing up. It was the most delicious Big Mac I ever had in my life. But the funny part is not that. It's when I heard 2 people walking by and one said to the other, "Hey, isn't that girl from the fitness competition?" And I turned with a big mouth and I was like, oh, yeah, it is me. I am, or rather I used to be, a salsa dancing fool. I love dancing salsa. I can't anymore because of my illness. I took lessons for years and I would go to practice dancing. So all through university, even after university, I was a salsa dancing fool. And even now when I hear the music, I'm like, I don't know how people can not be pulled to move. It's just so full of life. It's one of the things I really miss not being able to do. Another, I think, interesting thing is that I almost became a chef instead of a personal trainer, because during my lifestyle change, I was learning how to eat healthily and I was making my own food. I was experimenting with meals and I started taking cooking classes at one of the local colleges. I ended up not taking that direction because I figured being a chef is going to be awfully hard to maintain the weight loss that I had achieved. But if I became a trainer, I could still be an amateur, a recreational chef. Speaking of my fitness era, I actually ended up on this documentary. It was following different medical personnel that have high stress lives, and how they manage their life. And so my awesome client, Dr. Jeff Myers, the head of palliative care in actually the hospital I used to be a microbiologist in, considered our training sessions to be one of the key ways that he de-stressed, and it was time for him and for him to maintain his physical health and mental health. I'm only in it for a few seconds, but it was interesting. I mean, obviously, we were followed around by cameramen for days, and there was a lot more footage, and it was interesting being filmed and trying to act like nothing's going on. No, there's no camera in your face. Entertainment Tonight Canada approached my yoga studio to do a little piece on the spring detox, a spring cleanup for your body. And they had an actor that I was showing to him, what kind of poses he should do and things like this. And the actor's name was Felipe. Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. I laughed because I was so excited. I told everyone I knew I was going to be on Entertainment Tonight Canada. My friends told their friends, and people were watching. And indeed, the show goes on air, and you see me for maybe 2 seconds. You continue hearing my voice, but you're seeing the actor, right? The camera's on the actor. And I remember everybody was like, what happened? Where were you? I think I saw you. Was that you? It looked like you for a second. Such a deflating moment. I wished I hadn't told everybody. I haven't been able to find footage of that, and I never kept footage, because here's another fact about me you may not know. I don't own a television, and I haven't for more than 10 years. You just see people's faces when I tell them that. Now, I do have internet, and so you can really watch quite a few things over the internet. I don't have something like Netflix or anything like that, so I don't watch anything. I don't know what the rest of the world knows. But hey, that's how I fill my time, with things like birds, because I'm a big bird nerd. I love birds. I only started learning about birds, or becoming a bird watcher, a bird lover, a bird nerd, in the last 3 years. Now, everywhere I go, I carry binoculars. I love birds so much, and particularly, I have a very, very soft spot for red-tailed hawks. Fascinating birds. I watch live webcams all the time on my computer. If you knew how many tabs are open right now on live webcams, you'd probably giggle at me. I also do a lot of citizen science work around birds, collecting data through these live webcams that I've talked about, and I love that stuff. I love it. Another thing that came about was I started to sketch these birds that are on the camera, on live cam. And one thing led to another, and I ended up selling my art and opening up an Etsy store. Did you know I have an Etsy store? Me neither. No. I think I sold my first thing a year ago. Yeah, 1 year ago. People liked what I drew so much that they kept saying, oh, I would buy that. And I got a sale the same day. And I was interviewed about this in this episode by Amy Hallberg that you might enjoy listening to, where I'm, coined as the Homebound Avian artist. And I learned to draw at the age of 42. So it's about 2-3 years ago now. So that's it. I always enjoyed art, but I couldn't draw. And I have written a great blog about how I I accidentally ended up in a drawing class, and I learned that drawing is a teachable skill, like that there are things you can learn to do. You don't need talent. There are some things that are concepts, and I was blown away. And I could see myself getting a bit better and a bit better. And I've been drawing and sketching ever since and doing all sorts of things. I even wrote a guest post on this topic, online art community called Empty Easel. Some of my drawings are posted in there that have then gone on to become very, very popular Pinterest pins. And it's just kind of crazy, you know, how these things happen and you couldn't see that one coming, you know what I mean? Like, just of the recording of this video, I have been interviewed by 6 different podcasts on 6 different topics. I've been interviewed by the lovely Shelley Miller, a social media wizard, shall I say. I've been interviewed by Amy Bernier, who is all about making brave choices in life. And I've been interviewed by April Moreno, who also suffers from autoimmune illness. And my first podcast was from the lovely Danielle Atkisson. She is a living ball of energy and inspiration, and she has a podcast called The Silver Lining Life. And I remember when I listened to that first podcast of me interviewed, I cried for a day because I felt embarrassed that I rambled. And I had a vulnerability hangover, as Brené Brown would say. I could be wrong, but even the last time I spoke with Danielle, she mentioned that it still is one of the most popular interviews to date that she has, and she has quite a few. And the lovely Anik, she interviewed me on the topic of guilt. How do you not feel guilty, and how do you maintain boundaries or create boundaries? Where's the line? And that was a very fun interview. There's a lot of laughter, a lot of seriousness, and a lot of, I think, pretty good tips. I spent an entire year becoming a life coach and a mind-body coach. I was taking 2 long courses at the same time in the same year, and that was a lot of work. I was doing a lot of one-on-one work virtually, and that's how I started my website. But because even that has proven to be very energetically draining, I've had to shift how I work. I also ended up in a writing group. We ended up creating a book, an anthology, and it has been published. So I guess I'm a published author. I'm not sure if that counts. Because it's an anthology, I have one piece in that book. The book is called Song of Ourself, and it's actually being produced in audio format as we speak. I'll put the links to that stuff in the section below. Okay, so you guys have probably figured out I am a nerd, like a nerdy, I think nerd is good. I need to feed my mind in addition to my senses. And I am a Coursera addict. I keep taking courses after courses. If you don't know about Coursera, I think you should check it out. It is super cool. There are free courses that you do on your own online. They have groups, and I have taken and completed courses like osteoarchaeology, finding out the truth in our bones. Amazing. Another one that was really interesting was archaeoastronomy, looking at the ancient architecture of other civilizations and how it related to astronomy. What a plant knows, part 1 and 2. It's all about plant science, and you would be blown away by all the things a plant can detect. Of course, I've taken one called Mountains 101, an extraordinary course. Oh, right, the origins of the universe. So it's physics and astronomy and microbiology, and I'm still in that course. It's fascinating. You've got to find another word besides fascinating. Whatever. Fascinating it is for now. Another thing you may or may not know is that I've lost my hearing. I actually wear hearing aids, and I'm wearing them as we speak. I show you one. Let's see, yeah. The good thing is they're kind of cute and small, you know. They're not that visible. But I don't really mind anymore if they're visible or not. You know, I wear my hair up a lot, so the sun, it can glints on that thing and it reflects. It's linked to whatever weird disease I have that's affecting my body. So I ran a cleaning company that had 100 employees. I was the general manager and wore every hat in that company. I'm talking payroll, HR, lawsuits, supplies, just everything. I was working around the clock for 2 years. That nearly killed me. It was a lot of money, but high stress and not worth the price. And I learned many things about human nature, about managing people. Oh my God, I don't want to manage people. No, it's the hardest thing in the world. God bless all you HR people that want to do this. I'm the biggest introvert you will ever meet. I know this is probably surprising you because I come across so extroverted. But you need to look at the definition of introvert and extrovert. Introvert basically refers to how a person gains energy. So I refuel my batteries by having solitary moments, quiet, low stimuli activities, where someone who's an extrovert needs social activity, people, action in order to feel alive again. Although I enjoy moments like that, they end up tiring me out. It requires energy of me. Something like this takes up so much of my energy that, yeah, it'll be days before I'm like this again. But I want to, right? This is a choice. And I love cycling. I love cycling. I cycled the Rockies twice for fun, both times. The first time was in the year 2000. I'd never done something like this before. I was unprepared, but I did it. And because of that experience, I wanted to go back and cycle the Rockies again and do a longer version. And I was able to do that in the year 2007. And I have written a piece about it where I talk about finding out that my mother's dying at the same time that I'm going on this trip, and how I was able to sort of get through the physical and emotional levels of pain of that trip. Those are the things that you may not have known about me. But here's something I didn't know about myself until I started making YouTube videos. I had no idea I'm so animated, that I'm all eyeballs and hands and face, and that I move so much and make so many expressions. I had no clue, people. No idea. I thought, up until 2 years ago, that when I talk, that I talk like this. That this is what people see. In my mind's eye, I was not very attention grabbing. Why? Because most of my life I've lived with severe social anxiety. I was always trying to disappear into the background. I'd say in my late 20s I started to actively work on that and have overcome most of it in many ways. And so the fact that I even have a YouTube channel and I'm recording myself and I'm sharing it with the world, this is mind-boggling, right? So this is, I wouldn't have believed that I could reach this state, this point, but because of like 25 to 30 years of muteness, let's call it, like just not talking and being quiet and truly being just an observer, in my head, I still thought that that's probably what I look like. And so when I started to record myself and see that I'm all like this, like, look, eyeballs and eyebrows, and I make such funny face, I didn't know I look so funny. And I'm still getting used to the idea that I still find it hard to believe that I am so like a living cartoon. You don't need to have the volume on. You don't need to hear what I'm saying. You could tell so much from my hands. And I knew I moved my hands. I mean, you know, I'm Greek. But I thought I only moved my hands in rarer occasions, not constantly. I didn't know that every time I move my eyeballs, like, it's so noticeable. Just how surprising it is to have your own self-image like flipped like that completely. When you're in front of a mirror, right? You just right? You look at things like, okay, everything's fine. You don't talk as you would talk to a person. But when you record yourself like this and your face is like, whoa, this is what humans have been seeing for years. I'm very amusing to watch, to just observe. I'm a science experiment in myself. I have more facts than these, but this is a long enough list. I figured I've bored you enough. I mean, if you've made it this far, God bless you for listening to all of me, all of those things. So that's it. Let me know any thoughts you have, any comments on any of my crazy facts, and if you have any questions, and I will answer back. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. No, scrap. I'm a funny character, aren't I? The lip gloss. I forget. Oh, right. But I digress, which I often do. I was gonna say, and even so, even you know, a runs a love my lip gloss. I was like, oh my god, I went off topic and I did this and that. Wear it all the time. Wear it in the house when nobody's around. How does the cell know there's too much sodium? How does this whole thing work? It's astounding. No. The thing is, like, when I catch myself in the mirror, I like a little... Right, I'm recording this. I feel like laughing. Anyways, I forget what I'm saying here. Right. Salsa dancing fool. Paper. 2? I've lost track. 2 years? A year? Strange? Yes. Odd? Yes. But that's how I am. But only for like a split second.